Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Ade Septa Ganda Putra. I'm from PBI 2019. Now I wanna explain the material is an introduce to language science. The first material is language characteristic. Description of language often appeal to Charles Hackett 1960. Design features. Let's focus on a subset of these features because some of his proposed design features are not necessary for language. A set of central, possibly necessary, design features could including the following. There are semanticity, refers to the idea that language can communicate meaning and that specific signal can be assigned specific meaning. And arbitrariness refers to the fact that there is no necessary relationship between actual object or event in the world and the symbol that a language used to represent those object event. And next, discreteness refers to the idea that components of the language are organized into a set of distinct categories with clear-cut boundaries between different categories. Next is displacement, refers to a language ability to convey information about event happening out of seek the speaker about event that happened before the moment when the person speak and if event that have not taken place as the person is speaking. English has a system of auxiliary verb and affix. Next is duality of patterning. Duality of patterning refers to the fact that we simultaneously perceive language stimulate in different ways. And the last is generativity, refers to the fact and language have a fixed number of symbols but a very large and potentially infinite number of messages that can be created by combining the symbols in different patterns. English has about 40 phonemes, but those 40 phonemes can be combined in an infinite numbers of ways. Okay, for the next material is research on communication abilities in apes. Apes and monkey provide useful comparison to human because some of apes, such as chimpanzee, are closely related biologically to humans. Monkey and apes are also highly intelligent, which makes them good candidates to share some of the complex abilities that are involved in producing and understanding language. For example, understanding language requires a listener to recognize the meaning of semantic force of an utterance. The next material is monkey don't talk. The acquisition and use of grammar also appears to work differently in children than in apes. When children produce multi-word utterance, their longer utterance contain elements of their shorter utterance, but they also contain new elements. Repetition of element within utterance is almost unheard of in child language, but it is common in the signing of apes. For example, some of them sings sequence include expression like eat nim eat and banana me eat banana. Next is language origins. Other means to study language origins involve comparing modern humans to our evolutionary ancestor by assessing human ancestor physical features and artifacts. Theorists can develop ideas about how and when modern language abilities emerged. Much of his work is speculative because the critical evidence needed to discriminate between different theories is unavailable, as with research that comparing living humans and living apes. Much of the much of the theorizing in the evolutionary approach to language origin revolves around the concept of continuity and discontinuity. Next is language and talk. The beginning of the end for Watson's theory of language and talk came in 1946 when medical doctor Straub, a health 34 years old, he researched volunteer to a gurney in Salt Lake City and injected him with Currer, Smith, Brown, Thomas, and Goodman 1947. Okay, next material is Wolff linguistic determinism and linguistic relativity. One of Wolff's chief motivation in proposing linguistic determinism was an analysis of Eskimo language. Based on Frasbo's analysis of Eskimo, Wolff concluded that where English has a single word no, Eskimo language have multiple words. Next, Wolff make a comeback. Linguistic determinism, the idea that the language you speak strongly limits the thoughts you are capable of thinking, has fallen out of favor in psychology and linguistics, but the idea that language affects thinking in less drastic ways has actually gained traction in the last decade or so. Okay, the next material is a description of the language processing system. The rest of the book discusses mental processes that are involved in producing and understanding language. In the following chapters, language is treated as a set of mental mechanisms and processes operating largely independently of other cognitive systems. That is, the book seeks to explain how the why language is produced and understood. For example, the visual system responds to like but not the sound. This thick neutral structure means that particular brain regions are associated with specific compilation. Okay, the last is summary and conclusion. This chapter has introduced some of the fundamental properties of language and attempt to address where language comes from. Language is a form of communication that is used to transfer information between individuals who speak the language, as well as serving other functions, such as social bonding. While language is a form of communication, it has special properties that are not present in other forms of communication, including semanticity, arbitrariness, discreteness, displacement, generativity, and duality of patterning. Okay, maybe that's all presentation for me. I apologize if I have so many mistakes. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.